This episode is sponsored by Factor Meals, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. This is Philosophy versus Improv, where two sages try to teach each other a thing or two, and maybe you, the audience, get something out of it as well. My name is Mark Linsenmeyer, your improv ringleader today.
Improv ringleader.
Why do I keep saying that? Why do I say? I said that last time. A ringleader of sorts, but trained in philosophy.
Yes, and my name is Bill Arnett, the true improv ring master, yet a philosophy elephant cleaner up behind her to keep the circus metaphor going.
All right, this is team play. We got two guests who don't even know each other. We've had two guests before, but they've always come together. Jenny, introduce yourself.
I'm Jenny Hansen. I'm the tiger that needs to be tamed in the circus.
Okay.
Philosopher. I mean, we're trained to have these sort of ferocious debates.
And you're a philosophy professor.
Philosophy professor at St. Lawrence University, up here in the frozen tundra of northern New York. Yes, near the Canadian border.
All right.
And I'm Adal Rifai, a man in a bear suit selling merchandise, but I'm not having a great year. Not a lot of commissions. I am a podcaster. I do a few improv podcasts. I teach improv at UIC here in Chicago.
I'm so sorry to hear that the circus stuff is not selling well. Can you elaborate on that to start us off?
Yes. So listen, I'm so happy that PETA kind of came down hard on the elephant thing because I think I agree with that. I agree. But they replaced it with holograms, much like they did with Tupac and ABBA. So it's a lot of holograms of animals. And I think that the kids just aren't having as good of a time. Therefore, they're not lingering for merch.
But thanks to the Elephant Keepers Union, I am still kept on to shovel hologram manure.
That was the elephant in the room I didn't want to bring up, Bill. I'm glad you did. Thank you.
that was the actual elephant in the metaphorical room. We didn't want to.
What you guys
like
are
water
not,
for water for holograms.
You're not seeing the advantages here that by having the elephants be holograms, they can really get in the individual viewers' faces. They can do all sorts of things that are physically impossible for elephants. It makes it a much more up-to-date experience.
Mark, if I may, since I'm the one selling the merch and working for the circus, right in the thick of it, remember back in like 1904 when they had movies where the train was coming right at the audience and the audience screamed and ran away and cried? It's like that, where an elephant comes charging at your child and you don't know any better. You're instinctually just sort of grabbing them and running. So we get a lot of people leaving early as well. And is this the whole show? Is the whole show juggling, as it were, to coin a phrase? Juggling in the circus metaphor?
I just wanted to go with this until Jenny felt comfortable enough to jump in.
I feel comfortable, but I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with this. Like, am I walking the tightrope over the virtual elephant, the hologramic elephant? That
Jenny communicated to me a particular philosophy lesson, and I have things to add about that. So I figured, let's do some improv, and you can just try to sneak it in, embody it.
Sneaky philosophy.
Yes. And so Bill and Adal, did you end up communicating about the lesson or?
Improvisers communicate beforehand? Mark.
No, my friend. That's sketch. You're thinking of sketch.
All right.
Also, Mark, thank you for joining us from the Beautiful Minds set. Wonderful work behind you.
This is the ultimate cop-out that is in every improviser's hip pocket. I thought this was improvised. It has saved me countless times. Has allowed me to stay in bed hours.
Did anybody publicize the show?
Hours longer than I should.
I missed my calling, damn it. I didn't know there was a path for me like that, improvising. I'm not procrastinating. I'm improvising when needed.
I do have a lesson in mind, and I think I can, if you'd like me to chat it to Adal, I can, but I think
completely
Adal
up to you. If it would help,
I think Adal will understand.
Adal,
would you like the lesson chatted
Yes, and send it now.
Okay.
Or would you like the joy of discovery?
Here's what I'll say. I would refute Bill's kind offer and just purely improvise, but I don't think I've been on this podcast in 2 years. I can't remember anything we're supposed to be doing. So
All right.
So I'm cool to improvise. I'm an improviser, but I'm also terrified because I'm like, was there something I was supposed to prep? What am I?
Let us back up for the benefit of those. I feel like new listeners, would they still be listening at this point? But I asked that of all my podcasts about 5 minutes in, because at least I see the stats on YouTube where it shows how many people watch the first minute of everything. I think it's not just my stuff, and then it's gone from the world.
Do we need to front load this thing up top? Put some sex and violence right at the beginning of these shows? Is that what we need to do?
I was getting that way with what the porn elephants could do. I mean, there's lots of things.
What are they, those clowns are doing in the car? I know you fit so many in there. They're spooning.
They're like Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah. Gross. Yeah.
Do you think there should be a clown car cam? So
you want to be the first nesting doll? Or, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Human Centipede. Do you want to be at the front or the end or in the middle?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a Human Centipede at Eurovision this year. I can't remember the act, but it was quite a thing.
Excuse me, what?
At Eurovision, I didn't go to Eurovision. I watched Eurovision, and one of the acts had like a Human Centipede dancing. It was a terrible song.
That's incredible.
Someone will listen to this and hate me for life. But yes, it was a Human Centipede.
Was it a conga line? I mean, I know that it's just a matter of gradation between a conga line, but I think the position of the mouth, Ray, the person in front of you's anus, is sort of key in the Human Centipede.
But it had all of the campiness of Eurovision too. So like it was like an awkward.
Yeah. Mock Human Centipede.
It was a mess. It was a murder scene. It was terrible.
Mark, what you said reminded me, maybe it was Harold Ramis who said, what's the difference between a kiss ass and a brown noser? Proximity.
Bill, do you want to explain the format to the first-time listener / viewer?
Well, since you and I went over this for hours yesterday, the exact format down
telepathically,
similar to the past show, but the idea was if people could have teammates, maybe we could more deeply explore some of these ideas, both philosophically and improvisationally, via teammates to help these little points and things be a little bit more impactful. I think that was it. Otherwise, the format, we'll do a couple scenes. We'll chat in between. What did we learn? What's the improv lesson? What's the philosophy lesson? How does that make us feel? What do we think about it? Perhaps do another scene. And then at the end, we haven't gotten there yet. We'll decide.
We now have a committee that will decide which lesson is more powerful. Each person will have a vote. And if it's a tie, then I think we have to fight.
Yeah.
Luckily that we have distance. We can't be literal kiss asses or brown nosers, Adal, at this distance. I'm sorry.
Perfect. Yes. And just so you know, here at the circus, anytime there's a tie or a dispute, usually settled with close-up magic. So flex those fingers, get some prestidigitation prepared.
So, Mark, you think we should begin with an improv scene?
I think so. I mean, I think we can give a hint that Jenny's something in the area of speech acts in philosophy of language. So that's very convenient, given that we're, again, despite the fact that the YouTube people can see us and our beautiful faces, we really have only words to connect one with each other. Otherwise, we're just alone.
Or we're Chat GPT is what we are.
I wanted to tell everybody we're going to be heading out of Akron a day early. Ticket sales have been terrible. So we're going to break down procedures of the Big Top here tonight rather than tomorrow night.
Breakdance procedures?
Breakdown. Big Top breakdown.
We will have breakdancers, though. The Jabberwockies are in the building.
Akron, tough market, huh?
Yeah, tough market. Exactly. They're just not. No one's really coming to the circus, to be perfectly frank.
No one wants joy in their hearts anymore in Akron.
No one wants joy anywhere in their hearts. I think the circus is doing terribly, y'all. I mean, you know how hard it is to get a train these days to take everything? So we got to load up a day early. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but we're leaving town a day early.
Okay. As the strong man, I will say it pains me that a lot of people are just tossing around the idea of like we're packing up early when I know that a lot of this falls on my shoulders, literally and figuratively. I do 99% of the loading up. So I just wish people weren't so, does that make sense?
Yeah.
That you say, we got to pack up this stuff. You make it feel like a universal issue. And it just feels like Samson, I feel like I do a lot of the work. So I just would appreciate, I love you guys. We are a family. Circus is family. What does Circus say? I love you.
Yes. Well, Samson, I think that's a great thing. I think we could all look at our schedules. And, right now I am slammed trying to get this train scheduled day early because we're going to be in Kalamazoo tomorrow night or in 2 days. But I'm sure everybody else would love to help out. Everybody would love to help out. But I'm going to be nose in the phone book. It's 24 hours.
I cannot lift boxes because I have flippers.
Dale?
Well, yeah. I mean, Flipper Boy.
Dale, you're beautiful. Dale, you're beautiful. Don't change a thing. Don't apologize. You're beautiful.
I wasn't apologizing. I'm just, I like to state, I like to be very forthright.
Sure. Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm proud of my flippers. I mean, I know that in the community, they don't like me calling them flippers. They don't like us still advertising it as a freak show. Somehow they find that offensive, but I am not offended. I stand out and I'm not going to help move boxes.
That's fair.
Okay.
So the talent can't be bothered to pack up a box, is what you're saying.
I can nudge things. I do a lot with my feet. I can really get around. I'm very capable. But, the kind of stuff that Samson is referring to, of the lifting of the cages onto the train cars and stuff. I mean, that's all him, man. Like, you can't even do that, Jenny, right? Really? I don't mean to put you in a box.
Maybe I could. What does it entail? Maybe I could lift these things and put them on top of each other with animals, or
there's some large crates. The tent folds up, all the poles you can stack.
Right. So it's just about, the crates and the folding and the putting things in and the stacking and how hard could it be?
True. And just to chime in real quick, I will say it's not that I won't do 99% of the work. So I'll still do this. It's just a thing of it's like when if someone hits your car and then they go, what are we going to do about this? And you go, what are we going to do about this? You're going to give me your insurance. Okay. And I'm going to file a claim. Right. So I just don't want people to say, hey, we're
breaking it down. But are we though? I mean, are you really 90% of this? If you are, then I think you should just go ahead and be mad and not let us say that we're breaking it down. Right.
Ever since I was a young boy in Copenhagen, the town freak.
That's a rough life.
Right. I've learned to not be mad, because when Samson gets mad, walls come down, is what my dad used to say. And I can't go to that place anymore. So what I need to do is just try and speak my mind when possible, try and empathize, and try and connect with people.
And some subtext spinning off your mind too, a little bit of darts,
Okay.
I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do 90% of the work. Let's just not call it we, but yes, we do this.
I'm just using the royal we. The circus must break down tonight. However, we need to define that in your own mind to preserve your feelings. Go ahead and do that. The circus must move on tonight. So whoever's going to lift those things, Samson, are you okay?
If you could just say, Samson, we know you're going to pack up everything. If you could just use my name in any context in lifting, I would just feel so much better about the sweat equity that I put into this,
Okay. I don't know what to tell you. And you've been in the circus now for 10 years. This has just kind of been how it is. And don't break things, please. We don't want to, those are difficult to replace here on the road here. Jenny's going to help.
I mean, just call me Delilah though. Yeah.
Okay. And Delilah,
yes, the tattooed, bearded lady who can fit inside a box will help you. How ironic that she'll be lifting boxes. So are we good to go? We ready to get this rolling? We ready to get the show on for today? And then we'll break down. I think we should get the circus started.
I do want to say one thing. Delilah, I don't want to speak for you, but it feels like we've put a lot of labels on you. You're the tattooed oracle escape artist, bearded lady in a box who does, you have so many, it's like high school superlatives. You won them all. Do you feel overwhelmed? Am I in this alone? How do you feel?
I could take all of that and more. Keep it coming. I am not overwhelmed. I am overjoyed. My heart is full.
Okay, I'll tell you what, everyone, write down how you would like to be referred to. Okay.
You mean pronoun?
Anything. The sign on your tent, the sign on the thing. Okay, just write it down and we'll do our best to honor that. Okay. We can talk about this on the train. When we're heading to Kalamazoo, we can have this conversation. Right now, we got a circus to run, and then we got to break things down. Hands in. Here we go.
Well, I think individual.
No one's putting their hand in.
I feel like we need to break down
are you trying to say something to me about hands?
Oh, come on, y'all. The appendages in.
As a young boy in Copenhagen, every pencil or pen I touched snapped in twain. I was never able to learn to write because my hands were too strong. So to say write it down instead of just speak it aloud feels like it's pointed at me.
Okay. We can find you a stronger pencil, maybe one of those fat kid pencils, I don't know. And Flipper Man, we'll find a utensil appropriate for you as well. All right. I think that we're kind of thin slicing language a little bit here. And I think we're getting hung up on some things. Okay.
I think we should just all go by freak. We got to reclaim the word, and me doing it by myself is not really going to just, having freak tattooed on my head. I know it was the start, but I'm really hoping that even you, a ringmaster, will see the freak in you. I don't think Jenny Delilah was born. That's not a real beard, but she's chosen the freak way of life. She's not like me, like Samson there. And I think you could do the same. I think you could be more supportive.
Okay. I have offered to pay for the tattoo to turn that F into a B and put an IN apostrophe at the end, but that's offers on the table if you'd rather be breaking than freak. But I just want you to, y'all, this is secondary. This is secondary to the task at hand.
You will all forgive me. I do have to eat my daily 8 roasted chickens. Please continue.
Don't get any grease on your leopard print singlet, please. Okay.
We're just not finding the right description for dismantling. Breaking down. All of these seem to not celebrate the freak in all of us.
But if we were to line up everybody with hands, and then who doesn't have hands to who has the biggest hands, we could establish a mean and then a standard deviation of hands. And I think that's, if you're more than 2 standard deviations away from the norm, I think you're a freak. Okay. I think that's just a fair definition.
But the freak's the talent, right? The freak is what brings Akron out.
Wow.
Akron's coming out for the freak to get its freak on.
Ow, 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 ow,
and
ow,
so,
ow, ow.
Instead of excluding the freaks
Mark,
from the hand deviation, maybe we need to think of other tools or other metaphors for what we're doing here. Right?
Mark himself said he can't help put the tense away.
Well, but I think it's because he was responding to the breakdown. He can't break it down.
Well, he can put breaking on his forehead, and he's a great clapper.
I would like that. I would let go of the freak identity if I could actually break dance in a competent way. And I think having something tattooed on your forehead is the first step in acquiring a new skill.
I think not having hands would help too. You can just flip around, right? I think you're more than halfway there.
Sounds like you're making some assumptions.
Ringmaster, if I may, I don't speak for the freaks, but I speak for this freak. You call yourself Ringmaster. We have to refer to you as Ringmaster. As far as I know, as far as Samson is aware, you have mastered no rings. You have 3 piercings on one ear, which looks fine, I guess, if that's your thing. But I think if we could just call you like Todd, I feel like that would be, that would kind of delineate, draw a line in the sand between the strongman, flipper boy, the oracle, bearded lady, and then Todd.
Or Timmy. How about Timmy? I like Timmy.
Perfect. That's perfect.
You're just picking names for me.
Well, we're trying to pick the right names.
Timmy's less annoying than Ringmaster.
Okay, then
I like Timmy.
It should be, he's annoying, so it should be Ringmaster. It should be the more annoying name. If you want to get a name that actually fits.
But just so everyone knows, I am 63 years old, and I spent 40 years working myself up to Ringmaster. From ring assistant, ring associate.
Take it down a notch, Timmy.
I don't think that's the brag you think it is.
Yeah.
If it takes 40 years for you to make Ringmaster, I don't think that's the achievement that you're looking for. My cousin was Ringmaster in 7 years.
That was not a true circus. Okay. That was not I'm familiar with this online circus, and I'm not sure if that counts. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
The kids' circus camps also you really can't count because they want to give the kids a sense that they're constantly achieving, and so they keep giving them higher. But you got to sort of put an asterisk after it because if you're a 12-year-old who is a ringmaster, that's a bullshit. That's not a real ringmaster.
Okay, all right, okay.
I have the hat. I have the riding boots. I have the red fox hunting coat. Okay, and I have earned this station. Okay. And by the way, we are late to getting the circus open.
And the train hasn't even left the station. Like, what happened to the train? What happened to the caboose? Where's the boxes that we've lost the task?
What I could do, I could maybe pick up the train and throw it. And as I throw it, I could try and hop on. I just don't know. It's a bit of a risk because I may not hop high enough. I'm strong, but I'm not, again, jump 20 feet, I could maybe try and throw it and hang on, and that would carry us all the way. I'm up for suggestions.
The train will be here this afternoon. Okay. That's my job to get the train here. It's your job to lift a barbell with 1 ton written on each round ball. All right. And it's your job to climb inside that box and then pop out with your bearded face. And Mark, it's your job to wear a lobster suit and jump around. And I know it's humiliating, but
I'm not ashamed. I love it. It's my passion.
Mark, there's no need. Yeah, exactly. No need to apologize, Mark.
We forgot about the pincers. You got way more than flips going on then. You got pincers. I didn't realize you had moved on to the lobster man.
It's just something we're experimenting with. I mean, I haven't even gotten the tattoo that says lobster man. So like, until you get the tattoo, you're not really serious about it.
Without a name, you're nothing.
Wow. Without a name, you're nothing. Todd, you hear that?
I thought it was Timmy.
Tim, I'm sorry, Timmy.
Hey,
yes, okay.
We'll stop there.
I mean, obviously, tattoos are forever. And if you're a tattooed lobster man or Timmy or ringmaster or whatever, Samson, then that's what you are.
Are you all familiar with the lobster man murders?
No. Did someone murder lobsters?
So there's a town in Florida, I think it's near Sarasota, where the Ringling Brothers Circus, where they wintered, and a lot of the circus folk just ended up moving there when they retired. And one of the guys had a deformity and was Lobster Man. And he had a son, Lobster Boy, who then went on to join the circus. And there was a love triangle and a murder.
A lobster roll.
Yes. ROLL.
Somebody died, Jenny.
Someone actually died.
I was stuck on the roll.
I'm not sure.
Philosophy professor makes joke about murder. That's the title of the episode.
Yes. Murder of a differently able person.
It wasn't a Rick roll. It was lobster.
I think if we renamed it Rick Roll, that would really help to reclaim it.
Is this now a thing? Is it ongoing?
Oh, it was years ago. Oh,
so it was solved. I mean, obviously you're telling us what happened. So
yes. Yeah. But it was one of these like, wow, this is, I hate to say Florida man, but it was one of those stories. Yeah. You can Google it and read all about it.
So what did you learn, Adal, about the philosophy of language from that scene?
Wow. I'd like to pass to someone else, please. I'd like someone else to go first, please.
Bill, do you have any guesses? This is our new, we just sort of worked this out recently that we would use the first scene. We would not just say the philosophy up front. We would try to tease it out. And I didn't really help very much. But Jenny was...
I don't know if I did.
We were at least saying things related to language and naming and stuff. And it seemed slightly relevant.
There's an imprecision, I guess, with language. But then again, language doesn't really exist as outside of us, you know? So what does a word mean? What does a name mean? What does that mean? It's just like, in some ways, the arguments, I think, in some ways are a little pedantic or nauseating because we're literally arguing what does something that we created mean? There is no third party. There's no appeal to a higher unimpeachable power. We agree what a rock is. We agree what the ocean is, but like, what do words mean? You know, is that kind of what you're going for? I editorialized a little bit, if that's okay.
What do words mean, man? This is touching on a bunch of things in philosophy of language. Jenny, tell the thing. Just spit it out what you actually brought in here, and then we can have that.
The thing that I wanted to try to play around with is an essay made famous in the 2000s by Harry Frankfurt called On Bullshit. It was a paper no one ever read, but then around the GW presidency and Jon Stewart and all the kind of truthy, all that stuff, they reprinted it into like a book.
It's like a common sense pamphlet.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I got it. This is like totally just interesting story to me. My ex-husband was a scientist and they were selling these to scientists to help them fight against the political. Now, this is before the Trump administration. So
I like that you said GW and then you outright just said Trump.
Yeah.
And Frankfurt just died a month ago.
Yes, he did. He died. He recently died.
Yeah, July 16th.
You know, for him, I was trying to bullshit a lot. Once I was trying to also insert myself into the insanity of the circus. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so some of what I think we tossed around had nothing to do with bullshit, like what is a name? So when I made that silly, like, well, when it's tattooed, then, you know, once it's a name, if it's not named, it doesn't exist. That could be a position. But bullshit is when you just start making shit up, which is what people do all the time rather than say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
And this is supposed to be important because
what the right answer is.
it's different than lying. That if you ask, is Trump a liar? Well, does he care if what he's saying is true or not? That's the definition of bullshit according to Frankfurt, is you just don't care if what you're saying is true. You're saying it you have some illocutionary, I think that is the word. In other words, the locution is the actual meaning of what you're saying. But if you have an illocutionary or perlocutionary, these intentions, so it's just, you're trying to accomplish something. You don't actually care what words specifically are coming out of your mouth. It's like if you're yelling at your dog to stop doing that, it doesn't matter if you don't have to be precise in your language to the dog. You just have, you just have to somehow accomplish the task.
Yeah. There's an insincerity around it. Even someone who's lying, they may not even realize they may be one of those kind of like, I really can talk to ghosts. They really believe they can, and I guess in that way they're being sincere.
Or they know there is a truth of the matter, right? So the background of bullshitting is that there are facts, that there are things you can say about the world, that you can describe rocks, you can describe bearded ladies, whatever. But the bullshitter has become part of a world where nobody talks about, like no one tries to get at the bottom of things and figure out what the facts are. They're just speaking to be heard and to get an audience and to fake their way through something. And But the larger concern that Frankfurt had, and this was kind of something we accidentally played upon, was that people were turning more on themselves and their identities and their truth of themselves while performing in a way where there is no truth, where you just bullshit. You don't care. If you're lying, there's truth. If you're bullshitting, truth is not a thing. It's not a category for you. You don't care about figuring out what the answer is. We know a lot of bullshitters in life. I see a lot of them in the classroom.
Yeah. That cult of personality that bullshits almost supersedes fact, to where it's like, if you're so enthralled by someone, you're just like, yes. And then it's like, well, the numbers show. And they're like, no, the numbers are dumb. I don't, that's not a thing. Just say whatever. And they're like, yeah, he's right. And it's like, what are you talking about?
It's because, it's cult of personality. And you listen to the bullshitter and the worst part is all the people that get taken in. And the bullshitter is just bullshitting.
Numbers were invented by Arabs. Did you know that? The Arabic numbers.
Yeah.
They weren't, the Greeks did not have numbers. That is true.
Really? The Greeks didn't have numbers?
Where did that come from? It's random. No, they had
Jenny's right.
Rocks. Yeah. They had like dots that they made. And
okay. I was about
certain
to say.
configure it. Like, that's why if you read some of Plato's dialogues, like I think the Meno, he's having the boy do a geometry problem, but he's just having him draw it. Like there's no numbers, right? It's like
pure geometry.
This is random, but there's no way to say what the answer is to the square root of the hypotenuse until you have irrational numbers. So it was mystical.
Yeah.
Random off topic, not bullshit.
Yes, of course.
Kind of interesting.
So Kronos was the god of time. So did they have a time system? Was it just like a sundial or something?
There was numbers, of course, but it's just not the particular symbols that we use for numbers.
They weren't
numbers.
Yeah, they weren't the Arabic numbers. They weren't numerals. What's the right word? They were like,
I think numerals is right.
Dots.
Yeah.
They were like rocks.
They had representations of numbers.
Yeah,
Pips.
they had things. They had right. There was
Pip. That's two.
Maybe they had some other thing. I'm totally now bullshitting. I don't know. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. So
my wife is on a library board and they're currently trying to find a new director. It's a volunteer position, in the city, and they're trying to find a new director for the library. And there's one person on the staff who didn't come to a bunch of meetings and is now being recalcitrant, is now being pushing back on all these things. And it's like their agenda is to just stall and gum things up and try to make the whole system look dysfunctional. And then they're sending things via email, which can be FOIA'd and just all these things. It's like, you're not engaging. Your criticisms of this candidate is not legitimate. You don't care about the criticism. You just want to demonstrate how the library board should be abolished and there should be a for-profit company who's in charge of finding, I don't know what his agenda is other than something very, you see, government doesn't work, something very nebulous thing, And of course, it's driving my wife and the other board members bananas.
With the director positions, is the director position itself voluntary or is the committee voluntary? Or
the director is a paid. They like run live. They're 9 to 5.
Wow, that's like fighting over like an unpaid director. Like that just takes me to new levels of like, whoa, I live in land with no people around me for these reasons. So yeah.
It is a well compensated, fairly compensated position to run a library, to be it for a very large
So the deliberation is being hijacked by this guy's bullshit.
Yes. And they should be talking, well, which candidate?
Which is one of the problems of bullshit is that it completely prevents the kind of drag out, knockout debates and discussions that we need to get at answers.
Well, just which, we have 3 candidates. Which one do we like? Who should we hire?
Okay, let's talk about, right. But nobody wants to say anything, make a claim about reality anymore. They just go into their own bullshit.
They have an agenda for doing it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I got to interrupt the proceedings to talk about Factor meals. With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Okay, I cannot talk in that voice for the rest of this. You know the meal kit thing. Well, this is one better because you don't have to actually combine the ingredients. You just heat it up in the oven if you're patient, in the microwave if you're not. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. And it's a great way, if you're too busy to cook, to make sure you're eating well. These are upscale meals with premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, asparagus. They've got at least 34 weekly options. I am looking at a bunch of empty boxes of what they sent to me, like roasted veggie and pesto tortellini, creamy Parmesan chicken, vegan mushroom marsala, jalapeno lime cheddar chicken with spicy cilantro, cauliflower, quote-unquote rice. They're all pretty low calorie. And you can, in fact, specify, hey, I want the calorie-conscious options with around 550 or less calories per serving. Or you could do the protein plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. They've got special lunch-to-go options, grain bowls, salad toppers. They have snacks, breakfast items, juices, shakes, and smoothies. So get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. You simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/improv50 and use code improv50 to get 50% off. That's code improv50 at factormeals.com/improv50 to get 50% off.
Sometimes I think people bullshit, not like the super famous bullshitters right now running for president, but like some people bullshit because they can't possibly imagine not having something to say on the topic. So they think, well, I just got to enter into this conversation somehow. But this person sounds like they're just trying to, maybe it's like sport, like instead of playing video games, like come home from your job. And
I don't mean to interrupt, but I mean, that one guy they've been interviewing him for it's been sitting here for like a half an hour now. And he has not come out of the interview. Should we all just leave? Like, are they just hiring him now? Or do you guys have any insight on this hiring process of why this would be taking so long for that one guy?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened. The interview has been going on far too long. I don't know.
How long? Longer than a half an hour?
90 minutes. The candidate has been in that room for 90 minutes talking to the board.
They just told that this was supposed to be just an open call. I don't have a 3:30 appointment such that I was supposed to wait for 90 minutes for this guy. I thought it was just going to be kind of it's just like a retail job. They should just talk to us for like 10 minutes. All the past interviews that have gone on, none of which have gotten me a job, obviously, or I wouldn't be here, have lasted this long.
Yeah. Okay. Look, let's just slow down. They invite candidates. Okay. The candidates speak with Miss Wilton first, then they speak with Mr. Gordon, and then they're in with Mr. Gordon right now. And then they come and speak with us, just who will be their immediate underlings. Right. And they want to get our opinion, which is great. But why is this candidate? All the other candidates have blown through the first 2 interviews very quickly and then speak to us. And I thought they were fine. So why is this person still in with Mr. Gordon after 90 minutes?
Do we think something's wrong? Should we go in there?
Something's either terribly wrong or terribly right, which means something could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe they hit it off on a personal level and it's just like a deep connection. Like
golf.
When you
They're talking football.
Golf. Yeah. Oh, damn.
I mean, I could have talked about golf. I thought I was going to be on the other side. I'm supposed to have an interview for this position, but here I'm the underling that I'm supposed to interview somebody who's going to be over me. I should be.
Internal hires have their own thing, their own process. Okay.
It's just when I asked I could do it, they're just like, no. They're like, obviously, I mean, you are only in here like 10 hours a week and you leave early and you arrive late. And for some reason that disqualifies me.
Mark.
Hey, Mark.
There's a mystery afoot. Okay. And we got to figure this out because if a crime is being committed behind that door and we do nothing, we are just as guilty. Okay.
We're complicit.
We're complicit.
How long did the other candidates sit with Gordon?
20 minutes tops.
20 minutes top. And what about Wilton?
20 minutes. Again, they met with her, got their paperwork filled out, and now and then it's supposed to move on to us. And they haven't. This guy has it, or girl, or person. I don't know. I don't even know who's in there.
Oh, maybe it's like a cute dog.
Oh my gosh. Are they going to hire a dog to be our boss?
Actually, there was a town that they made dog mayor. You hear about this? You read this? Oh, man.
No, but I totally believe you. I did not hear about it, but it's. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But how do we pay the dog?
Scritches, treats,
belly rubs. I don't know.
That's like breaking the union rules. I mean, I demand a decent ways, and if they're going to give like some dog who's just going to get treats, am I supposed to get treats in order to go up in the ladder?
Mark, we got a major problem here.
But how does the dog reward me?
I mean, here's some facts for you, huh?
Lay it out.
If you have a dog, if you are around a dog for 1 year, you live 5 years longer. And that's just facts. I mean, you can't make that up, okay? Also, the most loyal creature around. There's a dog statue in Tokyo of a Shiba Inu. And the reason they made a statue of a Shiba Inu is because even after this guy's owner died, he showed up to the train station for 40-some years. You can't make that up.
No.
But they can't go to the bathroom on their own.
No.
What kind of boss do you want? Do you want a loyal boss? Or do you want a disloyal boss?
Yeah, exactly.
I want a loyal boss.
There we go. Okay.
Relieve themselves appropriately.
So
not on the carpet.
Okay. If we find a human who's loyal, but has a urinary incapacity.
Well, that's one of the reasons they told me I couldn't apply to this job because of my urinary incapacity.
Your coloscopy.
I mean, it's mostly just carelessness, frankly, and the fact that I'm usually drunk. But I thought my performance as a charming person should just override that.
Look, we have 3 options right now. Option 1, we call the police. We straight up call the police, okay? Option 2, one of us pounds on that door and demands to know what's going on.
Ooh, pounds.
Option 3, we get out of town, burn our IDs, and just go underground. I see no other option.
Yeah. Agreed.
But we have a digital footprint. Gordon, of all people, knows how to find, even if we burn our IDs, Gordon, that's his thing, man. That's why I think he's got a dog in there.
I know he's like spying on my Facebook just because I post pictures of myself urinating on various parts of the street in town. They're like, that disqualifies you from something. And I'm like, that's my business. What I post on Facebook is a private thing for me and my friends and friends of friends. That's the way I set the security.
I mean, it could also be in that book burning that you were, live feeding like 2 weeks ago. I mean,
that's just to have something to urinate on. Fires are the best place to urinate without question. I mean, if a dog knows that, then I would respect it. But dogs, they don't go to fires to urinate. They just fire hydrants. The symbol of putting out the fires. The fires is where it's at.
I think Gordon was at that fire. I think that's why we got to think about leaving town.
Did Gordon come in today? Was he?
Like, is he even in there?
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Oh, here's what I'm going to do. Somebody stop me if you don't want me to. I'm going to just blurt out every dog name I can possibly think of. And if you hear a whinny or a whine or a bark or a sniff or a scratch, we have our answer. Cookie, Oreo, Tuxedo, Malmut, the Topography, Forrest, Charlie, Matty Matt. Oh, Matty Matt.
I'm not sure. It could have been a pen dropping. Could have been a dog scratching. Okay. It could have been a human getting in and out of a dog costume.
What if it's a gay Disney character? It might be a gay Disney character that's behind the door. Like one of those, what is it, like Coco or...
You can't say one of those.
One of those Disney movies.
Don't put them in a category of Disney gay dogs.
This took a...
Going back to Copenhagen, like Little Mermaid, that's not a Danish mermaid. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe that's what's going on.
Copenhagen. Why going back to
Copenhagen? Because Samson's from,
what are you talking about?
On the streets of Copenhagen.
Do you have some insight?
Grew up.
Do you have some insight of who's behind the door and what's the hiring process?
Oh, no, I thought we were going with this. Like, I don't know if it's a dog. It occurred to me it could be like a woke Disney character.
Okay.
Like that's a way for Gordon to blow this all up.
what's the most? Hey.
I got the candidate in there right now. We went ahead and broke early for lunch, and we're actually going to finish up this interview in a second here. But just with scheduling and things, they got to catch a flight. So they went ahead and had early lunch, and they'll be in to meet with you in about 10, 15 minutes. Thanks, y'all.
Forehead covered in sweat.
All right, I'm just going to piss in the corner.
Did that just happen?
Oh my God.
All right, but
wow.
Gordon's agenda.
Yeah.
Maybe break for lunch is like code.
Yeah.
It's like an S&M thing. Break for lunch.
Just
you know what I'm saying?
Just start drinking.
Totally. I would never do it, but I've heard people
I only have
I'm not.
flippers, so like.
Hey, we never said it, Jenny. We accept you as you are. We never. A colostomy bag is way more noticeable, if I could just say it. And when Mark gets drunk, he picks it up and plays it like a little guitar and stuff. So
I mean, I feel like we could solve the dog problem. We just attach one of those bags.
I'm never getting a promotion.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we got to circle the wagon here. What are we going to say to they?
Yeah. No, we need to set a trap for them. We're going to set a trap.
Yes.
What did we learn? We learned they had lunch.
Yeah.
Something about an early flight. Okay.
If I may, a lot of traps, you see them coming, right? But if think of a lobster trap. It just nestles at the bottom of and then the lobster walks in. It looks like it's environment, and then it just shuts the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's lobster roll, baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
just like that Alaska crab show, I've seen a ton of.
Oh, yeah. Most dangerous job, right?
Most dangerous job, Alaska crab show. Yep. Seen a ton of those.
So
That's
we
exactly
just make the room the trap.
Yes.
It's just the whole room.
Yeah.
And then
it's like
when
Blazing Saddles.
it comes in,
we're just like lobsters in the boiling pot.
Are you drinking, Mark? Have you been drinking?
Slowly
More
turning
drunk
up
poetry?
the temperature, the room's temperature, slow
We'll stop right there.
boil.
We'll stop. Okay, that's it. We're done. We did it. Scene
I
over.
thought pissing in the corner meant that the scene should stop, but it just kept going.
Imagine a colostomy bag full of Mountain Dew Code Red.
Just freaking people out. Oh my gosh. What is that? Are you okay? Yeah, I have a colostomy. What's the big deal? Well, I know. That's not what I meant. It is red and fizzing. Is that normal? I've never seen.
So we're of course running into the issue that it's hard to depict or run too far with bullshitting in an improv scene where all of improv is bullshitting, right? Or is there something about special non-bullshitting improv that Bill is the king of like staying coherent? Because bullshitting doesn't mean incoherence. It doesn't mean getting drunk and saying random things. Adal was doing the braggadocious or the thinking of dog stories. And like, that was a good kind of Cliff Clavin bullshitting, explicit kind of thing.
I was totally thinking of Cliff Clavin. So funny. Okay. Oh, we're old.
I don't know if inherently all improv is bullshitting. It feels more like, and this may sound silly, but like channeling. It doesn't feel like there's a goal to like trick anyone. It's just a matter of like, I'm picking up on this frequency and I'm channeling this thing in this moment. There definitely are. I mean, just to speak to like my experience as a fan of Bill's and watching his team 3033, you know, you see people like Bill who it's like they can sort of wield the energy and have that sort of control of everything. And then you see someone like
Mark
and Andy. I was going to say Andy. I can't remember his last name. Real tall, Andy Sinclair, who's just chaotic in terms of like the way he improvises is just like lightning in terms of like, I'm almost trying to knock down this house of cards that Bill made. So it feels like even that, I don't know if it's bullshitting versus just like trying to channel whatever's in the ether, just as like a weather vane to like, just let I keep using weather references, but just trying to kind of feel the room and figure out the energy of it. But yeah, again, I don't believe personally that improv would be bullshitting. You are making things up, but at the same time, you're playing someone who absolutely could be real sometimes. I mean, maybe not in my case a lot of time, but that is, I guess, ultimately the goal is to mimic everyday life.
I mean, you just raised a point that made me think as a philosopher, which is because improv to me is also like humor. Like for me, like what I like about it is the specific way it uses humor to illuminate certain issues. And I wonder if you can actually be funny if all you do is bullshit. Like it would be a really lame funny, right? It would be like a Trump funny, like, oh, really? This guy, you know, it's never like any surprising new way of looking at something that I think improv or humor can do. I mean, this is like the second time I've ever tried doing improv. And for me, the hard part, which seems the opposite of bullshit, is committing. Like you completely have to commit. You have to sort of like, okay, where are we going with this? And like jump in. And I think like people that bullshit aren't committed to anything.
I was particularly trying to be provocative, given that we keep referring to truth in comedy.
In the corner.
And no, I don't mean in the scene. I mean in characterizing improv as bullshitting. That I know is going to get some pushback on that. But I'm trying to figure out what the lesson was.
You can highlight the bullshitter through an improv thing, right? Like you can.
Oh, Bill is looking like Jenny has stumbled on something.
Yay! I like being a good student. What is it?
What is the improv lesson? Or the
improv lesson was, especially when we start adding numbers of actors, was to try to limit the numbers of points of view. I know this is something that's probably come up with Mark and I at some point, but this idea that what makes a conversation difficult would be a meeting where everyone has their own agenda and everyone has their own thing that they're pushing, as opposed to in this scene, what I wanted to demonstrate was, especially for a good chunk of that, the three of us, Adal and Jen and I are all kind of pushing in the same direction. We had the same agenda and Mark was being selfish and we had fun ignoring him, but it was intentional.
Selfish or
but we've all been in unproductive meetings. We've all been in meetings. And I think when we're talking about these disruptive people, the disruption is that they're not paying attention to what's going on. That they're not on board, talking about, improv. It's like, well, everyone's on board. And even if you have a different point of view, we're still on board. But then the discussion at hand, what's going on in that room, we have to engage in that discussion. And even if what we're saying is ridiculous and Adal's mentioning ill-cited television programs or grocery store newspaper headlines, we still believe it, and that's fine. And we're all pushing in the same direction, if that makes it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. As actors, we're pushing. Our characters are ridiculous, but as actors, we are all pushing in the same direction.
But you're a team. You're achieving a goal, whereas the setup is somebody who refuses to like give in any way to resolving something and like.
Yeah.
Well, I know in my improv, I'm generally trying to fill in the pieces of some puzzle. And in this case, it was because I thought I had set up the scenario that we are all waiting to be interviewed for a job. And someone else that's in front of us in this open casting call has been in there for a long time. And then Bill spun it around. No, we're actually the panel that is waiting for the person to come out so we can interview them. And so I was like, why would a character be this confused? And so the rest of my acting like a jackass was just, I thought I was supposed to be up for this job, but now I'm, in the position that you said. And so what does that mean for this person?
Well, that was a classic Bill move you just experienced. It's like, you got 3 lines for it to make sense. If it doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to define it aggressively.
You've been Arnetted.
Yeah.
I like it.
So at first, I thought that's what you might be going for, Mark. But there was, for some reason, other people weren't biting or didn't land for whatever reason. I was like, all right, well, I'm going in hot. Cover me.
Any thoughts, Adal, about setting up a scene? I mean, I've mostly heard you in Magic Tavern and things, or in the Riddle podcast where it's lightning fast. This is the premise to the thing. It doesn't take, in that sense, 3 lines to establish something. And in Magic Tavern, like it's an ongoing, it's already established for the most part.
Sorry, what was your question?
Sorry. Did you have any thoughts to supplement Bill's on techniques for establishing where the hell are we and what are we doing?
I think anytime you can use like a we statement of like, wow, we've been waiting to be interviewed for so long or whatever that is, I think just out of the gate setting an environment as clear as possible is probably the best move. I think they always say, or at least the teachers I've had in improv have always said, whenever you come out into the scene within 5 to 10 seconds, you have to make almost a promise to the audience of what's going on. So if you say like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrongling Brothers Circus, you can't then be like, 10 seconds later, be like, so that's what I was saying to this lady. Anyway, I'm the president and I'm about to go into the Oval Office for lunch. Like you have to be like, no, you're a ringmaster and you gave that speech and now we're going to see whatever else there is in this environment. Just to really pull back the curtain and show the old man behind it. I truly up top was so focused on, we went into a scene and then I was like, is this the scene where, cause Bill had chatted me a thing and I was like, I don't know if this is supposed to be the scene where I try and steer towards that or what. So I think I was so focused on the prescribed goal that I was like, I don't know how to enter. I don't want to enter the scene until I know what I'm supposed to be doing, because I could really muck it up if I put my foot out there before I know what the intention is at the moment. So that was my reasoning for really hanging back up until the 11th hour.
Well, I also feel like I've just grown impatient to get to the improv in some of these episodes. And so I will just, instead of saying, now we're starting a scene, I will just go, perhaps disregarding some necessary setup for your lesson.
The way I always approach it is, so if it's the four of us, I would start a scene by saying like, I can't believe my food has taken an hour and a half. Like, I think we should leave this Applebee's. And then you three can have whatever goal you want. Or you can start the scene by saying, we've been waiting an hour and a half for our food. Should we just go eat somewhere else? And that's lumping us all into the same situation. So that's a way that I think about it in terms of like, do I want myself to be sort of the one being affected and be the odd man out, perhaps, unless the other people join in on that? Or do I want to sort of rope everyone cattle dog style and say, we're all experiencing this, right?
Why are you lying, Adal? We're not in Applebee's at all. A no and.
Yeah.
I'm at a German Applebee's.
Yeah.
I was trying to do The Room. For some reason, Jenny saying The Room is the trap almost got me on Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Well, that whole idea that, in most funny scenes, even sketches and whatnot, there's one core absurdity. There's something in the most liberal sense of the word absurdity, so something that doesn't fit, something that doesn't match, something that isn't right. And it's this whole notion of where do we put that? And I think Adal, that's a great way of thinking about it. Me or we, this absurdity is going to be somewhere. We do have control over where it goes and how we play it. And that's not necessarily a trivial thing. Especially if it's a great way to change up the energy or pace of a scene. If you had a bunch of scenes where it's I'm the problem, maybe we need we're all the problem, or we're all on the same page as a way of kind of changing the energy. And there certainly are TV shows and things that I think demonstrate, crazy people in a crazy world or sane people in a crazy world. You find examples at your leisure.
Young ones.
There we go. Yes. I don't know. The voice of reason in that show was like the audience, just like, I can't believe this is happening. Everyone is just on the same side of the absurdity. Yeah.
I'll also say, just in terms of the me versus we, I think that's my mentality when I go into group scenes. If it's a 2-person scene, I think it's like there's way more paths. We don't have to Robert Frost it with the we and me. We Somerset Mom it, baby. We can have any sort of direction we want. But I think with group scenes specifically, you can't sustain more than X amount of point of views, or it sort of collapses under the weight of all that.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking of that sense. Young Ones episode written by Somerset Mom. I don't think that was a thing. Sorry, Jenny. What were you about to say to help us wrap this up?
I don't know.
Did I say Somerset Mom wrote an episode of Young Ones?
I'm saying that. I'm imagining.
You said it, and then you go, I don't think that was a thing. And I was like, is he accusing me of lying? I didn't say it.
I don't know why you keep bringing up Somerset Mom's Young Ones whole repertoire, and he's just obsessed with it. He had all these badges. He had like the tattoo.
So did Frankfurt have any resolutions or any tools to fight back or answers, or just be on the lookout?
I think he wanted to call out bullshit as bullshit, right? Like,
just call it out.
So it didn't work, right? I mean, we live in a world now where people use alternative facts or whatever, non-facts, he, like a lot of philosophers, just wanted to hold on to truth seeking as the main function of philosophy. And he was pushing back at the time against totally different things within the world of philosophy. I think that were more about the postmodern self and authenticity and existentialism stuff. But his goal really was to have us call bullshit when it's happening and not do it, not engage in it, because it erodes a shared world of truth.
It's certainly relevant for today's
it's extremely
headline.
relevant because so much of the outrage and the shock and the occasions to be canceled, whatever it is, are all manufactured bullshit. And they're just keeping our eyes away from like real things.
Yes. Well, the defense is in the press in court cases of people in the media that you can't accuse this person of slander or something because everybody knows what they're doing is entertainment and it is not to be taken at face value. And
I want that philosophy professor.
That has been used multiple times in court cases recently.
Yeah. You can't take me seriously. I argue with everyone.
Yeah. You're the fool for thinking I was serious when I said.
Like, who cares what I say?
This is not really contributing to the discussion, so my apologies. But I'm really fascinated by the type of person who seems to be celebrated who I think in their own mind palace, they think in their own little world, they think that they're calling out bullshit. So they'll be like, ugh, those pants look awful on you. And they're like, oh man, Jeff really calls it like he sees it. Like he really cuts through the bullshit. And I'm like, I think this guy just sucks.
I think it is bullshit.
Yeah. But
exactly. It on.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, I think he's bullshit, but it's this thing of like almost projecting onto someone else something before maybe you're seen through. I don't know. Like I always say, if I were to ever go back in time, so say I went back to like medieval times, I would immediately find the weirdest looking person, like in terms of like how they're dressed or something, how they carry themselves. And I would immediately point at them and be like, time traveler, that person's a time traveler, get them. And then be like, phew, I've bought myself a few weeks. So I think it's that kind of mentality of like, but everyone celebrates it as they shoot from the hip. They speak their truth. They
say it like it is.
Exactly. And I think it's a terrible quality to like elevate and celebrate.
Honestly, well, that's genius. Yeah.
When you start getting people who are like, well, if my identity is saying it like it is, I guess I have to continue saying it like it is just in order to maintain me, my sense of self or other people's. I'm sure celebrities get almost like social typecasting. Well, this is who you are. You're the say it like it is guy. I guess I gotta keep doing it. Oh, fine, whatever. Hey, fatty, how's it going? Oh, like, do you even mean it? Yeah. Do you even mean it anymore when you say it like it is? It has become so dispassionate. You're
Billy Eichner.
Yeah.
You're starting to make me see though that like the people that appropriate this identity of saying it like it is never say anything.
They make people fearful.
They just, they're shocking. They just want to be this shock and awe person. I don't know.
And because whenever I hear a criticism of people, I immediately try to figure out how it applies to myself. You know, that the whole partially examined life brand and whatever, that it has to do with, I don't actually have to know the things because it's about phenomenology. It's about telling you my experience of how I see it right now. I understand that I'm ill-informed, but I'm just going to tell you how I see it with humility about myself. And, so I'm a straight shooter, but it only shoots this far.
I don't know. Is humility in there? So, like, is that really hard?
Well, that might be the bullshit part of it, is that it's a faux form of humility.
God, this could be endless. Like the person who's like, I want to be humble, and they're really just bullshitting. Like,
yeah, all the sincerity and humility of like a theater kid who got the lead role. Oh my gosh, I'm so humbled by this. I mean, what an opportunity.
They've already practiced though. Like,
yeah. And did you get anything? You didn't get cast? Oh no, but I'm so sincere because listen to the tone and cadence of my voice. And then they launch into Rent.
Yeah. And when I'm up there on the stage, yeah. If you don't have that spotlight on me, I don't shine.
I was a theater major, so all the theater parties I went to was just everyone belting Rent, and I was like, I don't know what to do here.
Oh my God.
I feel like that was
Why did I hang out with philosophers? They sucked.
That was a bonding experience with my daughter when she was in high school theater, is that I felt I would never normally be catty about children, about my daughter's peers, but you should have gotten the lead in that musical. That person who got the lead sucked. Like, it's not like I'm calling it like I see it to their faces.
I don't mean to draw lines between sexes here, but I've only heard this phenomenon anecdotally from other guys. And I'm curious, Jennifer, if you can correct this. But there's this
I play a guy on TV.
Oh, there we go.
Go ahead.
But there have been multiple people in my life, particularly late elementary into junior high, into high school, who just lie, who just make up stories that are on their face unbelievable. And it was like, as a kid, it's like, well, I got all the G.I. Joes for Christmas. It's pretty cool. You guys can come. And just like, and there's even like characters on television shows. There's a guy on like the Venture Brothers who just lie. Well, I got karate practice after this, and then I've got ninja class, so I'm busy tonight. Just like easily debunkable lies. And maybe this is more of a psychology kind of thing, but like, have you all met this person? Is it just me? Oh, you have. Okay, good.
I don't think it's just men. Like,
okay, that's fair.
I'm afraid to say this because my daughter will probably watch this, but sometimes what I like to say, what my daughter does when a friend of mine tells me something that she's exclaimed that she can do, is that I say, well, that was an aspirational comment on her part. No, she can't play guitar. I know that she told you that. But,
okay. Yeah.
Like there's definitely that kind of just lying because you're trying to fit in and be cool or like bond with whatever people are saying, which is a little bit like what you were describing. And I think that knows no gender. That is non-binary.
Okay, fair
non-binary. But I think that maybe what people lie about may have gender dimensions. So the examples you gave were all about like demonstrating how tough and cool and manly. I mean, gendered behavior is complicated. Now that I'm like starting to go there and women lying, it's like, I don't know if you want to.
I got all the G.I. Joes. This makes me the equivalent of G.I. Joes. Man.
There's some serious experts at that, and it's very stressful. Like it's not as overt.
I have so many G.I. Joes. I'm the anima of G.I. Joes.
There was a guy at Boy Scout camp who would just talk about his conquests with his girlfriend that were just like, we all knew that wasn't, and we're like 13 and he's like 15, but we all knew they were wrong, but we didn't stop him. It's not like we wanted them to be true for him. We just kind of let these stories go on, and they were total BS. And at no point did any of us believe. We even said later, you're like, he was just making stuff up, right? Yeah. But it's kind of cool though, isn't it? And it's like, we kind of let it happen. And I wonder if there's the BSers dividend is that like, maybe someone
they keep getting promoted.
Like it. Yeah, we like that. We're okay with that.
Once upon a time, it was just a kid at a camp, and then next thing you know,
president,
CEO, president. Yes,
it almost feels like watching too much like movies or something, where it's like I saw Porky's, and I think this is how my night's supposed to... Anyone who hasn't seen Porky's, don't watch Porky's. Terrible reference. But
it's that thing of like... that since the 80s.
It's the thing of like, oh, I think this is how my night was supposed to go, and it didn't go that way, but I better make up something because, that was exciting and thrilling and whatever. And so I had several people in my grade school who would claim... Not several people, maybe 3. Now I'm doing it. I was being hyperbolic. There's 3 people who would claim to be related to celebrities based on their last name. So there's someone with the last name Cruz spelled differently and be like, yeah, it's my cousin. And I feel like nowadays you could easily probably look that up and just be like, bop, 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 bop. Nope, that's not a thing. But when I was a kid, it was just like, I guess I have to not believe you, but I have to like go along with it because I don't have proof against you, and I'm not going to spend the energy to like build a case against your bullshit. But I don't know. Bill, I think there's absolutely those people all around us.
All around. Okay, good.
All around.
They're called teachers.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's frightening.
Let's enter our final phase here where we decide. No, I don't want to be first. Adal, which was the most in your mind?
Why is it always Adal first? Sorry, what was the question?
Philosophy or improv? Which one wins the day? Put in your vote.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy.
And justify it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's being philosophical.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't bullshit, man.
Yeah. You know what? I think for this episode, I think the philosophy of like the bullshitting really sort of made me stop and think, and it's going to stick with me for a little bit. So I think today philosophy, I wouldn't say it wins. I'd say it's...
You did say it wins. Jenny,
I would say it wins, but I think the, Jenny was, you who brought it up to begin with, the art of bullshitting and all that. I think that's just definitely going to sit with me and make me be thoughtful about the bullshit around me and how I can shoot from the hip and really tell it like it is.
Yeah, it's an instruction manual, that book.
Yes.
Exactly.
Jenny, any further thoughts? Do you concur? Do you dissent?
So I have never taken an improv class. I've never tried to do this. And every time, now it's twice, I'm being exaggerating here. The 2 times I've done this, I just see the power in improv. Like, I wish I would have done, maybe it's not too late. Because even though like the lesson, I'm glad that like bullshit's, like a concept in the world that can like make your head spin around and think about something. It's way more fun to be talking about, I don't know, urinating in the corner and Walton.
My favorite REM song, by the way.
That's pee in the corner.
Yeah, that's pee.
Oh, boo, boo.
With the colostomy bag, losing my. Never mind. So I think I don't know. Maybe for me it was fun to do the improv. I got caught off guard in the second one. I started getting into like professor mode, so it was fun to kind of reel it back in, and that was exciting for me. And I think every time I would do this, I come away thinking, why don't I do this in my class? Why don't I just throw a situation to my students to work out the text? I think improv won for me, but then maybe the key thing here is that improv's only as good as the content. So improv needs content.
Okay.
Maybe not. That's a philosopher's distinction. Maybe but I feel like what I get drawn into if I see anything like that, I mean, I mostly just see stand-up comedians, but is I like what they're saying, like the message that they're giving, whether they're doing so by, if it's a scene that everyone's creating at the moment or they've got a bit.
If you ever want to see the most fascinating bullshit you'll ever see in your life.
Oh, please. Yeah.
And it's a stand-up, Theo Von. I've seen clips of his. All he does is like, someone will say something. Someone will be like, yeah, my dad got a new Cadillac. And he'll be like, oh yeah, I went to the Cadillac factory one time and I got stuck under the car and they said they might have to cut off my legs and they didn't. And it's like, every single second of him talking is that. Is
like
him
come back to some random, like, he's ADD comic.
He truly just makes up stories and everyone just goes, I guess. Like it's exactly what Bill was talking about. Stand-up comedian Theo Von. For some reason, yeah, I've had some clips of his pop up in my TikTok and it's just it's fascinating how his brain will just be like, yeah, me as well. Whatever you said, that's also me, but to an extreme. Like it's dangerous. Yeah.
And he looks like Timothy Oliphant's younger clone.
Oh.
Yes.
Is what Google is telling me. So
could easily be a character in Justified season 2.
Bill, do you have?
I've not seen that show. Is that a good one? I'm running out of shows.
Season 2 is amazing.
Oh, okay.
Subsequent seasons are entertaining, but yeah. Mary Steenburgen is good.
Bill, any final thoughts?
We have a philosophy one.
Decision.
Are you kidding? Philosophy so one. It's just so
really
totally one.
I guess I was going to vote for improv, but I wouldn't vote for your improv lesson in particular. I think the spirit of improv, filling the discussion and shaping it.
Fair enough.
But the particular thing about narrowing viewpoints, that's I'll try to keep that in mind. But I don't think that was what I found most effective about the improv. I think I'm sort of with Jenny that this is really fun, and I'm glad I get to do this. And thank you both, you guests and Bill, for coming and making this a party. We let it go a little long because it seemed like you guys were just finally getting to know each other and able to chat freely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I will absolutely take that L on my shoulders because unlike Samson, I did not carry my weight in the lesson because I was on my heels, not understanding a few things that was going on. So I absolutely let down my side of the team.
Oh. Well, I let down because I set up the Delilah joke that never came to be. Like when I wanted to be Delilah, there had to be the cutting of your hair off at some point, and we never got there. So
next time.
I did not make the connection between Samson and Delilah.
That's why I went there, and you're calling me the bearded lady, and I'm like, I'll work. We'll go with that. But if he's like the strong man, I got to be the one who like takes it away.
I was more just like, what makes a Jenny become a Delilah? That it just seemed that there's a poignant story in there.
Cigar smoking bearded lady in a box. That's what makes her a Delilah. With, I don't know, menthols.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody. So long.
Thanks everybody
for inviting me.
Thank
this
you.
Was a blast.
Super fun, everybody.
If you enjoyed this, get more at philosophyimprov.com. If you're hearing this on the Partially Examined Life feed, please go subscribe directly to the Philosophy vs. Improv podcast so you won't miss any episodes. And you'll see our whole back catalog of episodes in that feed. While you are on the Apple Podcasts site subscribing, please leave a nice rating and review of this podcast. Better yet, avoid all the ads. Here are post-game discussions for nearly every episode and experience the video for this and most other recent episodes at patreon.com/philosophyimprov. Thanks so much for listening.
I should sell my soul. Bankrupt.